and good day, movement explorers. This is Faria Doctor, Feldenkrais practitioner and Canadian distributor of the Core 360 chair. And today here we are going to be talking about how do we transition from sitting to standing? How do we get out of a chair? Now, the reason why I'm asking you that question is because I really would like you to explore your preferences. And the important part of that is that if you don't know your preferences, then you don't know if you have anything to change. So once we understand and we notice in our brain our movement preferences, we then have the opportunity to make some important changes if we need to in our movement dynamics and how we transition from one position to another. And I just want to give a shout out to Fit Collective in Fonthill. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is today our wonderful trainer, Yana, was guiding us through doing certain movements. And those movements that we did were squats, which I love. But it has a lot to do with what we're going to be talking about today. So I love going to the gym because guess what? Movement is medicine. And I just want to show you, I've got my movement is medicine shirt on. And that is why I go to the Fit Collective to do my workouts 3 times a week, because movement is medicine, but it's also learning. So how do you apply that learning in the gym to learning how to move and transition from position to position and protect your back and be kind to your spine and your joints? Have a seat in your chair, and welcome to those people who are popping on to this Instagram Live. I'm going to be transitioning into my stool, and just for a couple of movements, just notice how do you, just without even thinking, get up out of your chair. So as I'm doing this, I'm going slowly. I'm trying to figure out, well, what do I do? Do I arch my back? Do I collapse a little bit in my chest? Do I use my chair to launch myself? Legs, do I lean into my legs or my knees? A lot of people will do this where, you know, they'll do their deadlifts and their squats and all their weights at the gym, but when they get out of a chair, they kind of lean into their knees somehow, or they'll push off, or they'll twist. Again, this is really important. Decode your movement preferences first, and then move on to playing with other options. So when I tip forward a little bit, but I arch my back. So that's not great because then I load into my knees a little bit. So when I do the movement to keep it slow, to slow it down to know where I am, I slide my hands, and this is a Feldenkrais movement. So you slide your hands along the sides of your legs, and you tip forward, and then lift your pelvis in the air. So you can do that a few times just to feel, where am I in space? Am I turning? Am I leaning? And having this as a guiding post of sliding your hands, folding forward, and then coming up onto your feet and keeping your hands as a reference to your legs. And for people who don't feel safe doing this movement, using your hands to slide along your legs gives you a little bit more proprioception, your perception of where you are in space at any given moment. And as you can see, there's bending that's happening in the ankles, in the knees, and primarily in the hip joints. So when I move to be really efficient, I'm going to do most of my movement in my hip joints to be efficient. So when I get up, instead of kneading my hands. You'd be so surprised how many clients, when I show them this movement, they are amazed at how much easier it is to get up and down out of a chair. And I'm talking people in their 80s and 90s. So if they can do it, you can do it. So instead of launching with your hands, see if you can slide your hands along your legs. So again, this looks a lot like a deadlift. This movement adds work to the bigger muscles. So if you don't know where you are in space when you're doing this movement, you can do it in front of a mirror. You can do it in front of your phone and videotape yourself doing the movement. Or you can take a foam roller and put it along your spine and then use it as a sensory reference. So I feel it against the roller against my sacrum, against my back. Okay, so if you're arching your back, your low back won't be touching the roller. And then of course, if your head is forward, you'll notice that. So you can bring your head back and then use that to help you come up and to go down if you feel safe. But as you can see, the more organized I am in my spine, the easier it is for me to get up and get down. So I'm counterbalancing. I'm sending my pelvis back like you would in a deadlift, right? Sending my pelvis back. And now I'm right over my heels. And so if, for whatever reason, I lost my chair, I can come back up. So not only are you creating stability and efficiency, but you're creating reversibility as well. So reversibility is important. Is if you're ready to land and something happens to your chair, or tips or whatever, you can rescue yourself and stop yourself from falling. Now, when you do this, if you have a curvature in your spine, if you've got scoliosis, or if you've got one leg that's a little longer, you may not want your feet parallel. You may want to put one foot ahead. That will probably be more efficient for you. So if you're getting up out of a chair and you just put one foot a little bit ahead, and then as you hinge forward, you're going to feel more of your weight on that front leg. So make sure it's a leg that you feel safe landing on. And you might find yourself turning a little bit. So that's okay, that's perfectly fine. As long as you're not irritating your spine, as long as you're not creating strain in your neck. You know, I've had so many people say that they've injured themselves either sitting too long, and that could be the chair they're in, or they somehow, when they sat down or they got up, they strained their back. If you're nervous, what you can do is you can breathe out to come up to stand. So you can breathe in and then breathe out. And in that way, there's a little less resistance. It's easier to fold. It's easier to relax in the pelvis to do the movement. Now, you wouldn't do that if you were lifting something really heavy. That's different. If you're lifting something heavy, you want to have a little bit of an inhale to create more stability downward into your pelvis. But for normal folks who are doing day-to-day activities and are not lifting really heavy things, getting up and down easily and lightly. Now, if you're still playing with this movement, here's another thing you can do, which is kind of fun. So you can grab the scruff of your neck, okay, and give it a little bit of a pull. So you'll feel like you're getting a little lighter on your neck. Give it a little bit of a pull, and then come up to stand. And keep that pull as you're going down. It'll really, I find this very helpful to know where my head is in space and also to make myself lighter. So when we're sitting a lot, we might collapse a little bit in the neck or pull our heads back too far. So when you take the scruff of your neck right here and grab a little bit of hair, if you have hair, if you don't have hair, well, you can't do this. Give it a little bit of a pull. You'll feel almost like it's lengthening you, like you're your own puppet there. And then you can come up and then keep that pull happening so that as your pelvis goes back, your head lengthens away, which helps to keep the spine nice and long. You can see my spine is long. Now, when you're transitioning from your desk, you might slide away from your desk to do this movement if you're too close to your desk. Or if you're in a confined space and you can't tip forward, you can put one foot back, a little bit behind you, and then think about that long spine so that it might feel like you're going straight up, but you're not. You're going at an angle. Sitting and standing is a folding and unfolding movement. It's not a straight up movement, right? We have to fold a little bit. We can't go straight up. Going straight up, people trying to get up straight up is painful and it's difficult. You need a lot of push through the legs to do that, and it's straining on the back. So you want this hinge, you want the power of this hinge. And if you're in a confined space and you can't tip too far forward, then just take one leg back and then come straight up. All right, so I would love to hear how you've explored your movements. Please leave some comments in the chat or send me an email. If you're on my email list, you will get this recording. And if you want to reach out to me, it's movement detector or through core360.ca, because of course I love my Core 360 chair. As you can see with this chair, it helps me tip a little bit forward to come up and down. So it creates a lot of movement and flexibility, but also stability. So thanks so much for joining in, and I look forward to hearing from you and hearing any of the questions you may have. Have a great rest of your day, and keep being your own movement detective.